Alright, I want to talk about something. Why, as someone who is an ex-Christian from childhood and also an ex-atheist, ex-anti-theist, meaning in our specific case, we were raised half Christian, then deconverted, and immediately after, for the rest of our later childhood to teen years, raised half anti-theist, atheist. Why would someone who is raised with that background choose to become an occultist, and specifically, in our case, choose to become very, very spiritual in our adulthood? And for us, that looks like being a witch, that looks like being a sorcerer, that looks like working with darker energies of Archangel Samael, and Archangel Samael is my highest revered of all the satans or devils or angels or demons, out of all of the darker underworld energies. Archangel Samael is the spirit I hold the highest regard for, I would say, who, if I had to choose, like if I had to narrow it down to one spirit where I'd say that's the spirit who has informed my spirituality the strongest, it would be Archangel Samael. And someone yesterday, they asked, why are you a theistic Satanist, or why are you talking about this on your page? The reason is, it's because Archangel Samael saved my life. And he doesn't take credit for that. He says he didn't. He says he just gave me other options, right? He's very humble like that about certain things. Like, you did all the work yourself. I didn't do any of the work. You did the work, right? I just gave you other options. I just showed you other avenues. But at the same time, though, he saved my life. And that is how I see it and how I view it. I still feel like he saved my life. And so that's why I'm his wizard, and I'm very, very loyal to him. And why would someone who was raised part Christian and then part atheist, specifically anti-theist subtype, so I was raised partially like evangelical Protestant or like a mix of that, and then I was raised anti-theist atheist. In my opinion, both of these things, both the type of extremist Christianity I was raised with and also the extremist atheist stuff I was raised with, were equally against my raw survival and actually against the historic survival of people like me. And the more I'm learning about history and unpacking white supremacy and other things, I know that neither of these things are sustainable for me or my demographics either, in my opinion. I don't think that either are actually conducive to a healthy life, and I just feel that they're not right for me at this time anymore, now that I understand more of the history and other things there. And the reason I became really, really spiritual, part of it was coping with trauma. My faith, my spirituality, my witchcraft and sorcery has helped me more in 4 years of doing this crap than doctors did with 10. Literally, I was in and out of medical crap. I was being falsely treated and medicated and other things, and I have medical trauma that for years, starting in early childhood, from like 9 to 20, like a good 10-year period, where doctors were not able to help me. They did not know what was going on. They could not help me. They were just guessing and rolling with it, and then they would take their guesses as facts. And that was severely, severely damaging to me. Whereas my faith has actually instilled me with something that none of these doctors or their pills or their needles or this other crap ever did, which is hope, which is real hope. And so I think actually the reason that it's like, oh, well, what's the point? What's the point if, you know, if none of this might be even real, if it's all just like mental, and you even acknowledge in your videos that it's all mental for you, right? What is the point of being spiritual? What is the point of having faith? What is the point of becoming a witch or a sorcerer or a wizard or any of this other crap? What is the point? You know, the point is hope. The point is hope. The biggest threat to my survival as an autistic person, as a transgender person, as a DID system, so someone who was abused in early childhood, who instead of being one person developed multiple senses of personhood at currently it's like 20 plus altars for us right now. As all the demographics that I'm in, all the minorities that I am in, I would say, the biggest threat to my survival ever since childhood has been apathy, lack of awareness and understanding, and capitalism as well. And all the cults and everything else that comes as a byproduct of capitalism. The patriarchy is a byproduct of capitalism. Systemic sexism is a byproduct of capitalism. The issues with school torturing hundreds of thousands of minorities is a byproduct of capitalism. The white supremacy is a byproduct of the kind of capitalism that we have set up in the USA. All of it is connected to capitalism. The fascism on the rise is being allowed by the ruling class. The white supremacy that is happening the USA was built and is run and maintained in the blood of minorities and the subjugation and torture of minorities. And it always has been, and it's only a matter of time before people really start to understand these things. So really the biggest threat to my survival on every level has been apathy, lack of awareness, and I would add in the lack of awareness category, like lack of historical literacy, lack of literacy generally, lack of being willing to learn and change. With the apathy category, that includes the systemic narcissism, that includes the mass scale apathy of men right now, where they are being controlled through media and other things, turning them more and more hostile to anything different, which is tying into the rising fascism and everything. But if I had to simplify all of it into just two simple words, it's apathy and lack of awareness and lack of knowledge, right? Which lack of awareness and lack of knowledge, kind of the same thing. So I would say actually that fascism aims to not only kill minorities and subjugate and hide minorities and cover up their history, ban it from schools. They're banning queer history from schools. They're banning black history from schools. They're banning any history. If you look at the banned book lists right now, they're banning anything to do with gay people, anything to do with trans people, anything to do with the real history of this country, they're banning. And they're banning media, and they're controlling media, and they're feeding you slop through the media and out also through your food, through these heavily processed whatever things. They are controlling everything. And I would say that it doesn't matter whether it's the Christo-fascism, or whether it's the corporate, more atheist, anti-theist fascism, because both are fascism. Both lead to the same thing. Both will lead to my death and destruction. And so, for me, it's like the good part of the tool of spirituality is hope, is that it gives people real hope. And the thing that fascism wants to destroy above all else is hope. Because if you don't have any hope, then you're an easier target for death. Then you will destroy yourself, or it'll be easier for them to destroy you. If you don't have hope, you are very easily controlled and manipulated by these systems in place. I spent most of my life just a sort of a mindless, brainless zombie, coked up on a bunch of medicine for a diagnosis I don't have, thinking that hope would be just serving all the narcissists and abusive systems and whatever, and that there was no other option for my survival. And there wasn't. Until I was disowned, and I had to restart everything in my life from scratch. I had to reinvent myself from scratch. I've had to rebuild a family from the ashes of the one that was stolen from me for 22 years. This false, narcissistic, abusive bullcrap that brought me into existence on every level. That was in my family, that was in the schools I attended, that was in the governmental systems over me, that has been affecting me since I was born on every single level. I have never had autonomy over my own life in the way that most people around me do. And so why do I work with Archangel Samael, the highest Satan in post-Talmudic and Talmudic lore, the angel of death, the a Jewish variation of the archetype of death, really? Why do I work with him? Because he has instilled me with hope. And because that hope is what can, wherever it's coming from, it doesn't matter which God it's coming from, it doesn't matter which God it's coming from. Real hope is what, and knowledge and awareness and empathy is what is going to change things in this world.